Hello and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment's 32 teams, 32 days, and today we are talking about the Minnesota Vikings. And me and Viking fans have an interesting relationship. If you were with me last season, Vikings fans hated me because I hated the Sam Bradford trade. I don't understand why the Vikings did it, and I proclaimed from the hilltops that the Vikings were going to go 8-8. And when they started 5-0 or whatever the hell their record was, I had a bunch of Vikings fans telling me, ha ha ha, and I was like, oh yeah, I was an idiot. And then I was right, because the Vikings had a very odd season as they started so hot and it got so cold. And you know me, I've been doing videos every day looking at each team. Normally, teams lose to great teams and teams beat bad teams. This was not the case for the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, we truly had an odd team here. So what are they going to do in 2017? We're going to talk about it, look at this team's strengths, weaknesses, give you some bold predictions, give you a fantasy outlook for this team. But I think this year Vikings fans will be on my side because the Vikings are going under the radar. So I hope to lead the way when it comes to the Viking optimism this season as opposed to last season. So with that said, remember to head over to sportsfanentertainment.com for the article previewing the Vikings. And let's start with the Vikings' strengths today. Let's start with their defensive line. Let's start with the inside of their defensive line with Mr. Linval Joseph. Now, why the New York Giants ever let this man go, I'll never understand. Now, they have moved on to Damon Harrison, and he's quite good for them, too. But this guy's an absolute beast in the middle. You just extended this man, I believe, for a 4-year, $50 million deal. Gotta love that deal. This guy's been a beast for this Vikings defensive line for a couple of years now. Can't wait to see how he ages, if he can keep this up. Now, next to him, we used to have Shree Floyd, but this guy had a horrible knee surgery, and now it doesn't look like he may play again, so that's unfortunate. But next to him right now, you have Tom Johnson and Samar Stephen, Will Sutton also on this depth chart. I don't love these guys, but I think they're decent defensive tackles in this league. Look at the edge defenders, the edge rushers for this football team. Let's start with Everson Griffin. I mean, this guy goes under the radar. Everson Griffin does not get a lot of love in this league, but he's one of the better pass rushers in this league. How about Danielle Hunter, who really came along last season, had over 10 sacks last season, and he still wasn't playing a lot. He was mainly used as a pass rusher, and what a pass rusher he was, but he can also set the edge well in terms of going up against the run, so I like that. And the Vikings also went out and signed former Green Bay Packer Datone Jones, added him to this edge defender depth chart, and they also have Brian Robertson here as well, who we know is not great, but he's good depth to have for this position. We move on to the secondary as a strength of the football team. That's right, the whole secondary. Let's start with the safeties first. Harrison Smith, and this guy's a beast, man. A top 5 safety in the NFL. That is including strong and free safeties. To me, he's top 5. Okay, this guy's an absolute beast, especially against the run, man. He just comes down, makes an overall impact. I have some nightmares about Harrison Smith from time to time. And Andrew Sendejo, okay, he's next to him. And I mean, he's not great. He's not very extracurricular. Doesn't do a lot that's extraneous and really, you know, makes a big play. But I mean, he's a decent, strong safety in this league. And you do have a developmental guy behind him in Jaron Curse and even Antoine Exum Jr., who's been stirring some things up in training camp. That's been interesting to see. So this safety position could end up being better if Jaron Curse ends up playing more, because I did like his potential coming out of Clemson, I believe, last year. Look at the cornerbacks. He just extended Xavier Rhodes for a good reason. This guy is an absolute beast. Gotta love Xavier Rhodes. Terrence Newman is still in the slot, and yes, he's getting older. I mean, not even getting older, that guy's just old, but this guy's making an impact, man. I mean, and as a slot corner, might be the best slot corner in the league. Now, you do have to fear that at some point he will fall off the cliff, so we have our eyes on that. But for right now, Terrence Newman, hey, this guy's pretty good. Now, Trae Waynes, okay, this guy's starting outside, opposite of Xavier Rhodes. I don't love Trae Waynes, but you can see the potential within him. Let's see if he can take another step forward. I mean, I think he kind of regressed from his rookie year, but his rookie year, he wasn't asked to do too much. His sophomore year, he was, and then he struggled. So We'll see how we can do this upcoming year. But you do have Mckenzie Alexander, whom he took last year out of Clemson, who I was not the biggest fan of coming out of the draft. But as a number 4 corner, that's a pretty good number 4 corner. I was just concerned some teams were going to start him as a number 1 or number 2. And Marcus Sherrills, I mean, he's still on this depth chart, and he's kind of versatile. So overall, I like the cornerbacks. It's very deep. You know, I look at every single team, and again, a lot of cornerback depth chart are just not that good. Here you have a second-round draft pick as your 4th guy, and Marcus Sherrills, whom we all know as your 5th guy. That's pretty good. I like the depth chart here in Minnesota. And we have one more strength, and it's the tight end in Minnesota, as I like Mr. Kyle Rudolph. Now, I don't love the guys behind him, but you did take Bucky Hodges in this year's draft. This is a guy that at Virginia Tech displayed some upside, so I'm looking out for Mr. Bucky Hodges. Other than that, you know, again, don't love the tight end depth chart, but Kyle Rudolph had a great year last year with Sam Bradford. I expect more of the same from Kyle Rudolph this upcoming season. We only have one weakness for this football team, and to me, it's the offensive line. I still don't love the offensive line in Minnesota, although it has improved. Okay, gone is Matt Khalil, who had that great rookie year, and then after that, just fell off the face of the planet. I don't know what happened to this guy. So right now, you have Riley Reef, okay, formerly of the Detroit Lions at left tackle. Now, you may think that he's fine, and maybe he ended up well being fine, but look, if the Lions move this guy from left tackle to right tackle, and then they don't even re-sign this guy, maybe he's not very good. Okay, so that concerns me there, and I have not been impressed with him throughout his entire NFL season, except for early on. I thought he might be decent, and he just never ended up being more than just okay in this league. Alex Boone at the left guard position, I mean, he's fine. Joe Berger, it looks like he may be playing right guard this year, but he's been playing great at center the past couple years. I might just keep him there. They're doing some shuffling in training camp right now. Nick Easton may end up starting at center, but I like Joe Berger. Joe Berger's good. Unfortunately, though, he may retire after this year, I'm hearing. And then Mike Remmers at the right tackle position. He struggled at times last year. I think it's better than last year, but that's not saying much because last year it was god-awful. Okay, I think now you improved from god-awful to pretty bad. Okay, so I don't love the offensive line in Minnesota. All right, so we move on to the positions that are near the strengths and the weaknesses. Let's start at the quarterback position. Now, I think a lot of y'all misinterpreted what I said last year about Sam Bradford. Look, he's okay, if you even want to use that word. I don't even want to use the word okay, because to me, using the word okay means that he's about league average. And he was last year. Okay, last year he was league average. 20 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, broke the completion percentage record that I don't care about. But is he going to do that again? I don't know. I think that was the best you're going to get out of Sam Bradford. And more importantly, is he going to play 16 games again? Because he plays 16 games one season, doesn't the next. Now, last year he only played 15 because he didn't have to play the first game. But he played every game you could have. The year before that, he didn't. The year before that, I think he didn't as well. I think he only played 7. Okay, so this is something to look out for. I think last year was the best you're going to get out of Sam Bradford. Maybe he still has a lot of upside left. I mean, look at a guy like Carson Palmer, right? Carson Palmer was not a great quarterback for the Bengals. And then when he entered his 30s, he went to the Arizona Cardinals, ended up being pretty good. Maybe that will be the story for Sam Bradford. I don't see an explosion this year, though. Maybe if you guys added like a big-time wide receiver, but you didn't. Okay, so I can't buy that there's going to be a lot better improvement from Sam Bradford. He's okay, I guess, right? Look at the other guys, though. Running back position. Look, I'm not a Latavius Murray fan. I don't like him pretty much at all. Okay, last year, 4 yards a carry for the Oakland Raiders doesn't make any sense. You have a good passing game in Derek Carr. The offensive line in Oakland is really good. Can only muster 4 yards a carry. That doesn't impress me. Now, what are you going to do against this, or behind this Minnesota Vikings offensive line? That concerns the hell out of me. But you did draft Dalvin Cook, and I'm a Dalvin Cook fan, okay? First preseason game, though, he couldn't get past this offensive line in Minnesota, man. So this offensive line in Minnesota is already presenting problems, man. But you did see in the open field, in terms of catching screens, in terms of catching balls out of the backfield, he made an impact in the open field. Get him in the open field, man. Use this guy in the receiving game. He could kind of be like David Johnson at this level, honestly, okay? And you're going to need that because, again, if your offensive line is not going to block for him, that's okay. Let's run stupid screens where the offensive line is not really supposed to block for long anyway. Let's get Dalvin Cook open, okay, in the flat, and let's see what this guy can do. So I'm interested to see what Mr. Dalvin Cook is cooking up this year. I think it's going to be a big year for Mr. Dalvin Cook. Look at the other guys on this football team, wide receivers. I don't think it's a weakness anymore. Last year I thought it was, but Stefon Diggs stepped up, okay? Only played 13 games, but you still have to like him to me. Adam Thielen, who the hell is this? Is it Thielen or is it Thielen? I've heard it pronounced both ways. Let's say Thielen today. All right, so Thielen, he played well last year, ended up leading the wide receivers in yards. Okay, this guy is good. Is he great? Let's find out this upcoming year. I don't think so, but he's good. Laquon Treadwell. Now, I was the biggest Laquon Treadwell fan before the 2016 NFL draft, and he's disappointed me. But man, this guy's talented. I refuse to believe that he's not. Okay, he was just too important to that Ole Miss passing game with Chad Kelly, okay, and a mediocre run game that was awful. He led the pack. I cannot believe that he's a bust. I refuse. Okay, so let's see what he can do this upcoming year. He's been in the first team sets a bit, but now he's having some injuries, so I don't love that. But I have my eyes on Laquon Treadwell. And Michael Floyd, okay, now you guys signed him. He's going to miss the first 4 games due to suspension, but apparently this guy's been making some moves in training camp, and now you've moved to a point where now Jarius Wright may not make the roster, right? So that's a much better wide receiver core than you've had in the past when Wright used to be an integral part. Now he may not make the roster, and you won't even care. And you still have this developmental German in Moritz Berenger, okay, who we have our eyes on. So we're looking out for this Minnesota Vikings wide receiver core. Other positions, linebackers, that's it. Anthony Barr struggled last year. Mike Zimmer said in December he has to work on everything. I don't know what happened to Anthony Barr. I loved this guy coming out of his draft, 2014, I believe. Bounce back, dog. You're way better than that. I think he has some mental issues. Maybe he cleans them up, maybe he doesn't. Eric Kendricks in the middle, really improved. Like him. Emmanuel Lemieux, don't love him. So linebackers could be a weakness, but I really could have put it. But I still have faith in Anthony Barr. I think it was just a mental year, just a bad year for him. Look at the other things for this football team. They give you some statistical projections. Sam Bradford, 12 games. I don't think he plays 16 games this year. Okay, that's my prediction right now. I have him down for 3,200 passing yards, 17 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Every other year he gets hurt. Okay, it's been about 50-50. I couldn't believe he didn't get hurt last year. My prediction is he gets hurt this year. Dalvin Cook, 250 carries, 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns. So only 4 yards a carry, but you're going to see the offensive line won't give him any breaks, and he's going to make an impact in the receiving game, and he's going to compete for Rookie of the Year. And then wide receiver Stefon Diggs, 90 catches, 1,050 yards, 6 touchdowns. Now, I struggle with this a bit because Diggs has not played a 16-game season in the NFL quite yet. And if he wasn't going to pass 1,000 yards last season, why is he going to do it this season? Because now you expect for Laquon Treadwell to at least do something. And you also expect Michael Floyd to at least do something. But you did lose Cordero Patterson. That's not a big loss to me, but you did lose him. You also lost someone else I can't remember right now that had about 200 yards. I think Jarius Wright. He's not going to make the team, I don't think. So, you know, maybe he does, but he won't make nearly the same impact. So I think he should break 1,000, but just look out for that. Don't go all in on Stefon Diggs. All right, bold predictions for this team. Again, Sam Bradford gets hurt, and Teddy Bridgewater comes to the rescue. Teddy Bridgewater playing this year, okay? And it's going to be interesting. You know, to me right now, what I'm projecting is Bradford plays 12 games straight, loses the last 4, or, you know, misses the last 4, and then Bridgewater comes in and starts with the rest of the year and maybe the playoffs. But if Bradford gets hurt mid-year, Bridgewater comes in, looks good. Maybe Bridgewater plays for the rest of the year. It just depends what the hell the Vikings want to do. But Bridgewater, will he even play this year? I don't know. So this is bold. He doesn't know. God doesn't know. No one knows. If you're talking to Mike Zimmer, no one knows. But he's going to start the year on the PUP list, the PUP list, miss the first 6 games. After that, it looks like he could come back. So we could see the ghost of Teddy Bridgewater once again. That's my prediction this season. We'll see about that. Dalvin Cook, finishes top 3 in offensive rookie of the year voting. I think he deserves it. I think he's going to get it. Will he win it? I don't know, man. This offensive line isn't very good, but neither is the Jags with Leonard Fournette. And Joe Mixon, neither with him. So it's going to be interesting. The wide receivers in this class, none of them are, except for Corey Davis, none of them are going to be really impressive off the bat, I don't think. So we'll see with this offensive rookie of the year. And then Laquon Treadwell saves his career. Now, I don't think he's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver this year, but I expect at least 400 or 500 yards to where you say, okay, this guy can play, because I just can't believe he's a bust. I just can't believe it. All right, so we look at my win-loss predictions for this Minnesota Vikings team. Best case scenario, 11-5. You could be a really good team. I can't see 12-4. I mean, I think there's a chance, like a 5% chance, but anything lower than 5%, I just throw it away, because I just think that's a little bit negligible for this conversation. But I think 11-5, that's probably the best case scenario for this team. They could be really good, be a playoff team, compete for the NFC North, really win the NFC North. I could even see that. Even though I'm really high on the Packers this year, it would not shock me at all if this team won the NFC North. Worst case scenario, 7-9. And even that, I think, is low. It would require a Sam Bradford injury and Teddy Bridgewater to not be able to play, because right now your backup is Case Keenum and he stinks, okay? And that's problematic. That's a big deal, okay? I do not love that at all. But my prediction is 9-7. Now, let me tell you, I actually really wanted to pick the Vikings to go like 10-6 and make the playoffs. But I see such a logjam right now that is going to be determined by injuries. Okay, it's going to be determined by health. Right now, I have the Giants being 10-6. I have the Cowboys being 9-7 or 10-6. I have the Eagles being 9-7 or 10-6. I have the Bucks being 9-7 or 10-6. I have the Panthers being 9-7 or 10-6. I have the Falcons being 10-6. I have the Seahawks being 10-6. I have so many teams being 10-6. It's ridiculous right now in the NFC. So what's going to happen is health. Health is going to determine this argument. Health is going to determine everything. And you guys currently have Sam Bradford, whom I don't trust. So because of that, I can't put my faith in you guys. But let me just tell you, I like this team this year. I think they're going under the radar, and I'm looking out for this team. But right now, just on paper, I do trust teams like the Bucks more, like the Panthers more, like the Eagles more. So that's why I have them over you. But again, you could easily make it. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on the Minnesota Vikings. What are your thoughts? Comment down below. I want to know. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and most importantly, to subscribe. And until next time, I'm out. See you all later.